Hi friends, welcome to the Plain Fun RC channel. I'm your host, Saul. And well, crashes happen. So we crashed the Mystery 3000. Oh well, it happened. So we are going to try to repair it. The damage is pretty extensive on the front and on the rudder. Back here on the rudder you can see it is pretty well busted. But we should be able to easily fix that. The front has the most damage, and you can see here just how severe the crash was. Look at how it bent that mount. Oof. That was pretty severe. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and try to rebuild the front of this, see if we can get her back up and running. The cowling was also destroyed, but we're not going to put that back on. I think it added just too much weight. So anyway, let's go ahead. Let's see if we can rebuild her, and more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, sad news. We're not going to be able to use the firewall. It's just way too damaged. It's pretty bad. But that's okay. That actually works out good, because I remembered I had a template that I kept of the firewall that I used to create the rear portion of the cowling. So I went ahead and just took the template, and I decided to go ahead and we're going to use some 1/4 inch plywood and go ahead and make a new firewall. So here we go. More to come. All right, friends, you can see we've got our firewall cut and our blind nuts are in place. And I want to say Gorilla Glue is fantastic for holding blind nuts in place, especially as evidenced by the original mount here. It works very well, and it's very easy to put in the blind nuts. Always glue in your blind nuts, because if not, they run the risk of popping out, and that's no fun. All right, we're going to let this dry. We're going to get it mounted, and we'll move on to some other parts of the plane. More to come. All right, friends, we've got our firewall mounted, no problem whatsoever. And what we did to help provide additional reinforcement is we went ahead and we added some wonderful triangular stock, and you can see it there on both sides of the firewall, and just a ton of epoxy, because a lot of the sides of the fuselage towards the front of the fuselage were pulled away as a result of the crash. And then you can see there's a gap there at the very bottom, and we're going to go ahead and work on filling in that gap there at the very bottom down there. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, we're taking a look at the steering servo. We know that there was a tremendous amount of force that was generated and damaged the firewall, and in turn, my concern was that it also damaged the steering servo. And upon further investigation, you can see, watch carefully. See the jump? That is indicative of there being some teeth in one of the gears that have been stripped. So it's important, don't just examine the servos that were directly impacted by the crash. Look at all the servos, because sometimes the force is so great it can actually cause enough jarring to damage the servo. So you got two choices in a situation like this. You can replace the gears on the inside, or you can just get a whole new servo. But honestly, it's just easier to just go ahead and replace the servo itself. So we're going to go ahead and swap out the servo, something new, and more to come. All right, we're going to shift our focus now to the rudder. You can see it's pretty banged up. When it got flipped over on its back, it nearly broke the rudder completely off. It's not too bad, just a big crack right there. I think we should be able to shift it back over. I'm hoping I don't have to go through and cut the Robart hinge point hinge, because that's really what kept the rudder, I think, from being completely broken off altogether. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this straightened out, glued back in place, and more to come. All right, friends, you can see we've got our vertical stabilizer reattached. I was concerned there might be more severe damage over here, but after taking the covering off, you can see it's not so bad. There were some cracks, so we were able to use a little thin CA and some thick CA to reattach, and it worked great. For our Robart hinge pin that's here, we're going to go ahead and use that. I had to drill out the actual center. We're going to go ahead and use some 1/16 wire to help and reinsert that back into the hole, and keep this, that way it'll keep that functional. And you can see the vertical stabilizer on this side. I was concerned there might be issues with some cracks in the vertical stabilizer, but there weren't, so everything looks great. All right, we're going to get everything recovered, make sure the radio is working well, get our motor reattached, and more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you can see the Mystere 3000 has been fully repaired. When we take a look at the firewall here, you can see we went ahead and we fixed it and covered it and just looks fantastic. The biggest difference we did this time around is instead of mounting the motor in the front of the mount, we mounted it behind, hopefully reducing some of the nose weight, because the one problem this plane has is that it's very nose heavy. For our vertical stabilizer in the back, you can see we went ahead, we've got that fixed up, just looks fantastic, fully covered, nice and straight, and just works perfect. All right, so it's very cold out right now, so we're gonna wait till probably about mid-March, somewhere right around early April when it starts to warm up here. And when we do, we're gonna take her on out and fly her again. All right, folks, thanks for watching. More to come.